What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bodacious Rant. We're continuing our Glicked review, or Glick it as you want to call it. So if you haven't seen it already, our review for Gladiator 2, not spoiler free, is already posted up, so feel free to check that out. Now we are talking about a movie that is probably one of the most well-known properties in pop culture. At least I feel like it has to be, with how much headway it made on like Broadway and everything like that. And that is the latest movie from Jon M, which is Wicked, starring Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Michelle Yeoh, Jeff Goldblum, and a slew of other great actors. Also, this is a spoiler-free review, so if you do like it, please give us that thumbs up. We really do appreciate you all. Ring the bell for notifications, and of course subscribe just to keep joining the ranting community. We love you all for that. So I've never seen the play before. I know of it. I haven't seen the original Wizard of Oz film that this stemmed from for like 20 years now at this point. But essentially, this is a different version of the Wizard of Oz tale, in which we meet the Glinda, the nice sorceress, and then we also meet the origins of, oh my god, I'm blinking on her name right now, Elphaba, which is the wicked witch of the West. And we just kind of see their beginnings grow into kind of leading into the Wizard of Oz story. So, this is a movie. I'm not super into musicals, just putting that out right now. I think it's kind of obvious with my movie tastes and stuff like that. And I haven't really seen Cynthia Erivo and too much stuff. Not the hugest fan of Ariana Grande, although I did love her SNL a few weeks ago because she killed it on that. But man, this is definitely one of the best movies of the year. Just, how we were talking about how Gladiator 2 was like a spectacle film. This was it. Like, I'm not a musical guy, but wow, everything was so well done. And Ariana and Cynthia, man, they got pipes for days. I couldn't get enough of their singing and hitting the high notes. I was like, damn, this is beyond impressive. So, oh man, I didn't think I would like it this much. I really enjoyed it. Bern, what did you think of this movie?
I mean, unlike you, I would say that musicals are very much right up my alley. I've made no. I'm not trying to hide it at all. I've liked a lot of musicals in the past, and in particular, The Wizard of Oz. I would say, I don't know if people know, but it's one of just my favorite movies ever. I grew up with that movie, and the VCR just on replay. So yeah, and I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie, and I've never seen the Broadway show Wicked. I never read the book. I just knew of it obviously through cultural osmosis because of just how massive it was as a stage play, and just how much people were talking about it, how long it's been in production. So it knew it had to be something pretty big for it to have sort of just that aura about it. So coming into this, I was very excited. Again, I really love The Wizard of Oz. I think Ariana Grande is pretty great as a singer, and as an actress too. I feel like she's a little bit underrated, as showcased in a lot of the SNL skits that you mentioned, and the things I saw her in. Like, I think it was like Nickelodeon shows as a kid. And yeah, Cynthia Erivo from like Harriet, Bad Times at the El Royale, and Widows I thought was a really good performer. So coming into this, and Jon M, the director, who did another Broadway adaptation with In the Heights that came out a few years ago, and Crazy Rich Asians, which I thought was great. So a lot to look forward to, and I was just hoping it wasn't a big letdown. With all these really good creative people involved, I was afraid it would just be one of those things that just didn't quite come together. And I'm happy to say that's not the case. This movie absolutely comes together. Like you mentioned, with Gladiator being sort of an ode to, the sword and sandals epics of the past. This movie, in sort of a way, is a sort of an ode to the golden age of musicals in Hollywood. It has the spectacle. It has the sense of wonder. It has the visual scale and production value that we got from things back then and haven't really gotten so much now. I'm thinking of the horrible musical, quote unquote, The Joker that came out a few months ago. This movie just absolutely showcases this is the way it's supposed to be done, and I thought everybody involved just did such a fantastic job. As Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba does a really good job of bringing sort of that emotion to the character that makes her incredibly sympathetic and easy to root for, despite what we know of, from the character in The Wizard of Oz. And I'm sure they're going to have a lot of fun with the lore. Again, I'm not really familiar with the stage play, so I'm sure, a lot of things will come into play in the next part that we're expecting in a year from now. But what she does with this character here and sort of establishing this version of what we come to know as the Wicked Witch of the West was absolutely fantastic. And I thought Ariana Grande did such a great job of showcasing not only her singing but her comedic chops, which we, again, for people who aren't familiar with her as an actor, wouldn't really know that she has that ability. But I thought she did a really good job with it, and I thought they both had fantastic chemistry with each other. And just the staging of all the musical numbers was so fantastic. I mean, I can't give credit enough to all the dancers and all the choreography with the cinematography. It just really, really, again, nailed that golden era of musical movies that we've got. It just brings it into the forefront here and wildly succeeds at it.
Yeah, I would say, for many generations that grew up with The Wizard of Oz, essentially this is a lot of, like, I would say generations of the last, like, 20, 30 years. This is their version of Wizard of Oz. So I think it's definitely, John Chu really emphasized the spin on it. And actually, one of my friends, she's seen the play multiple times with her family and stuff, and she said this was really actually very on point. Like, all the songs were in it, the music was great. So I was like, okay, that's good to hear, like, someone actually who's seen the play. Not to say I'm opposed to going to the play or anything. It's just never really get around to it. But so that was nice to hear that this is pretty good for that. So hopefully other people will reciprocate that. Like, oh my God, this was great. And just the effects, I think the setting and the costume design, it's definitely some of the best of the year. Like, a lot of the effects, I know there are a couple scenes and a couple moments like, it wasn't the best, it wasn't very well done, or it's like kind of typical CGI. But there were several moments specifically at the end that I was like, wow, this is like old school Marvel for like a little bit, where it's like consistent effects all the way through. It looks very plausible, very real. And yeah, just I can't praise enough the singing that both the leading ladies do. It is just phenomenal. So with all that being said, I'm definitely giving it a 5 out of 5. Highly recommend this. I got to see it in Dolby Burn. I don't know if you saw it, IMAX or Dolby. I don't know if it matters too much.
Atmos. It's the highest quality one here at the theater back home. But yeah,
sure.
it was definitely a premium viewing experience.
Yeah, I think this is definitely one of those movies that has to be seen in that kind of format. Just Dolby, IMAX, Atmos, what have you. I definitely recommend this one. May go even see it again, just because it was just fun at the movies. Both these movies were really fun, Gladiator 2 and Wicked. So yeah, highly recommend this one, guys.
Oh yeah, it's a definite recommendation from me too, for all the reasons that you and I both listed already. Just an absolutely great time at the movie theaters, and again, just one that just hits all those nostalgia notes for me in particular, as someone who absolutely loves The Wizard of Oz. So I'm sure I have talked to people also who are familiar with the stage play, and they also said the same thing as you, that this felt incredibly faithful. So I'm glad that they have an adaptation that gives them the credit and everything that they would want from a movie adaptation of this of that. So that's really great to hear. It's just, for me, the movie is a touch too long. This is almost a 3-hour film, and it being only a part 1 of 2 is one of those things where it's like, man, I feel like we'll have to see by the end of that one if this sort of justified that type of length for this story. But being a Broadway play, they do have the act breaks, and this is definitely the first act of this story. So good to hear that there's a natural end for this movie, and it didn't feel like incomplete in terms of the emotionality and in terms of the characters. So I'm glad that it ended on a solid emotional note, despite the overall story not being done, which a lot of part 1s have a lot of issues with. So I'm glad that's not the case here. So yeah, with all that being said, for me, this one's going to be a 4 out of 5, with the potential of it going to a 5 out of 5 once this entire story is done being told.
Yeah, that's very fair. Very good idea. Like, because we haven't seen all of it yet, so that's totally cool. For those of you who did happen to catch this movie in theaters, please let us know what you thought about it. And like I said, we're getting close to the end of the year, so we're gonna be rounding it. We're gonna be figuring out our top tens. Still got some plenty of stuff to review. So keep joining us for the journey, and until next time, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.